Her research, that blended in beautifully with the movie.
I think she had the lyrics there in front of her on the table.
And the point was?
Well, the point was probably to get on TV, so therefore, point proved.
And a career after politics of teaching the pelvic thrust.
I think she was trying to make a point about Labor going to the left and the right on, I think.
Right, OK. Well, look, it wasn't... Unfortunately, that really wasn't typical of the week as a whole. It was sort of fairly ugly and fairly bitchy a lot of the time. What's driving this? I mean, obviously, there's a sense of frustration on the coalition side of politics because they came close, but the next election might be 2 years away. And then, out of the blue, of course, the tax on carbon.
Yeah, well, I think it is a case that the election result was so close. It took so long for the election result to actually be resolved and a government to be formed. I think the coalition are very frustrated that they really haven't moved on from that point. They haven't won over the independents. They haven't been able to defeat any piece of legislation. There's 72 pieces of legislation have now gone through this parliament since last September when the government was formed. So I think the coalition are getting angrier and angrier.
And zero knockback.
Zero knockback, yeah, sorry, yeah. They're getting angrier and angrier, and I think they've decided that, to blow the place up is probably their best option of forcing an early election.
And in doing that, they're pulling together a whole lot of different grievances. People who don't think climate change is real, people who don't like paying more taxes, people who legitimately feel like their cost of living is going up and they can't afford their bills. A whole lot of grievances, all fuelled by Talkback Radio, fuelled by the opposition campaign and coming together into one big, angry people's revolt.
And it might even, we might even see it in the form of street marches and
There's
so on.
no carbon tax rally in Canberra on the 23rd of February. And again, if you look at the notice board that the people organising the rally have put up and look at the types of grievances that people are addressing, I mean, it's against asylum seekers, Asian immigration, Islam, carbon tax, the bogus science of climate change in their view. They're people who are angry about a range of things.
Well, let's have a listen to the telephone call to Tony Windsor. He replayed it for the benefit of the media. Here it is.
You're a f***ing dog, Windsor. You're a f***ing liar, a dog, a rat, a big f***ing MP dog doing there nothing. And you wait. You're not going to get voted again, you f***ing I hope you die, you bastard.
Now, Miranda Devine, writing in the News Limited tabloid, said this, that take out the swear words and the unpleasant hope that he dies, and you're left with a statement that reflects the feelings of much of his electorate. I think if you take out the swear words and the unpleasant hope, there's nothing left.
You take out the nasty bits, it's not nasty.
Yeah,
Gee.
I guess so. But, look, he copped a bit of criticism for that because they say that's probably not the best way to go, is to make sort of public announcements that you're getting these sort of calls, Brian.
I think what he's pointing to is that there has been a change. He and other members of Parliament say that there's always been a few people make death threats, but there has been a big rise in the number of death threats and also just in the general. For all of the talk from Tony Abbott about it like a civic discourse, he is promoting this anger, and a lot of it's turning up, if you see it in the blogs and so forth, and I think a lot of it's copied from American politics too, where you have ads with politicians in the crosshair of a rifle and then someone gets shot and you express surprise that could have happened. And so I think he's pointing to a very legitimate thing, that we need to actually take the heat down in this debate, or some people will end up getting shot.